Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Reasonably Effective podcast. And I am your host, 10 Types, and it is Father's Day, so I have a special guest on today, my father, Uncommon Fossil. So how are things going? You said you wanted to talk about a few things, right?
Yeah, I mean, briefly, just it's been talk about live, and it's been a very bad week for live, I would say. Um, at the time of recording, they have six banned cards in live. We occasionally have a banned card in PTZGO. This is actually part of why people were excited about live because now Pokemon was in charge and they could respond quickly to these issues. Obviously, there's not much hope for quickness, and I also don't think we've ever had six. I don't remember six cards being banned in PTCGO. So all the cards with some type of ability lock are banned: Spiritomb, Tinglu, Klefki, Gorgabus, or
Gorbis.
however once Gorbis, Empoleon V, and Aerodactyl V Star, right? Because I guess once you play it an ability lock, it's fine, but then if you remove it from play and then put it back into play
Well, I
again, I
think if
think
you
it
essentially scoop it up into your hand, it crashes or freezes.
okay. I did a test after they banned this in expanded, and my apologies to my two opponents that I did it where I just had a Wheezing net deck with just Intellions to help set up with the Drizzile. So you get the Wheezing, get it in the active, ability lock your opponent, and then I would scoop it up and then play it back down because then you can just toss it right back onto the bench. And at that point, it did appear that my opponent couldn't play any cards for the rest of the game. So I conceded after like a turn or two, but um, so the problem's still in expanded. Pokemon doesn't obviously particularly care about expanded, but they're certainly struggling to get things sorted out even in standard.
Yeah. Um, so it is what it is, I guess. It's kind of unfortunate that they're clearly like this is essentially the first major thing, good or bad, that's happened since Live's come out of beta. I think,
That's true.
and
Yeah,
it's definitely a bad thing. It's like it's not the worst. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
yeah. I mean, I think these are a direct result of the updates they did, which was for Paldea Evolve, which was the update that essentially kind of brought it out of beta, right? So bringing it out of beta caused some significant issues. So it's not a good start to to live being out of expanded. I mean,
Yeah.
out of beta. But
Yeah.
this is not unexpected, I would say.
Yeah. This is what we come to expect, but it's still bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what the main thing we're going to be doing this podcast episode is going to be we're going to make a top 10, rank the top 10 cards in the current standard format, which is essentially battle styles through Paldea Evolved or Shining Fates through Paldea Evolved. Um, and you said someone recommended this to you, right?
Um, well, it came about. I had a video evaluating from the live economy talking about the trainer's toolkit, which you can get in the online store if you want. You probably shouldn't pick it up, but it's there. And I was talking about some of the cards that I thought were bad cards, and they were like, some of those cards you said weren't good cards were some of, I think my favorite cards to play. So it just got me the idea of how different people perceive the quality of different cards, which kind of led to this thought.
Yeah, like Arceus V Star.
I think I was insulting something like Jock or Arvin, probably,
Yeah, I
right?
don't think we're talking about those cards today.
And I don't think they're going to appear, but those are, this, in one sense, yes, everyone has their biases, but, as content creators, this will be the definitive list once we're done with it, right? The top
Yeah, I
10
mean it's
cards for
definitive now too.
even before we know what it will be.
Yeah. But anyway, so we have I think a compatible list of around 40 cards or so that might be in
Yeah.
it. And then if you're watching, from my point, I have the cards in like a tier list format. So yeah, we'll come up with it. And so should we just hop into
Well, and
it?
just to let people know it if they want, right? So on 10 types, you're doing it a tier list maker. On Uncommon Fossil, I have it in live with I put together a deck with all the cards that I'll be kind of trying to bring up as we talk about them.
Yeah.
And I just want to say
Oh, and
two
if you're an
criteria.
audio listener, also like check us out on YouTube. But yeah,
You can see it.
you should be fine as well. We'll just talk about the cards as well.
Right. We might not read off the exact text, but we'll at least we'll say what it does in general. We're not going to assume if you probably know the cards, but if you don't, we don't want you being lost on it. I just want to say two criteria to me that I look for. One is versatility, being how many decks it can appear in. Things that are more versatile, I like. So I'm sure we'll discuss Professor's research. That's obviously a super versatile card, right? Because it's almost every deck.
Well, I don't know if I'd
Um,
say it's versatile, but it's universally applicable.
it's broad, right?
It
Which is
only does
awesome.
one thing, but it does that thing. Well, it does two things, but it does them very well.
But it doesn't a lot of decks, or more specific, like in terms of Lost Zone, which is very good. Take a card like Colorless Experiment and Mirage Gate, both really good cards in Lost Zone. Mirage Gate, you really can only use in a Lost Zone deck pretty much, but Colorless Experiment, you can use a non-Lost Zone deck, so that would give it a little edge over it. Obviously, they're different cards, but I'm just, for example, more option, being able to use in more decks, I think is better. And I would like to see a broad range of cards, ideally all the card types, Pokemon, energy, all the types of trainer supporters, items, tools, stadiums. I don't know if we'll pull that off, but I would like to see that it is ideally.
Yeah, I'm not gonna force it like into that. Specifically looking here, we don't have many tools that are like
Yeah.
I don't know. Tools are generally weaker and right now I'd say, but
Hmm.
we'll see. But do you
Yeah.
just want to hop into it?
Yeah. So I'll pull up. We have to. I'll pull up with the Pokemon because that's our longest list, and I'm going to toss out one I think is a very strong one, and that's Arceus V Star. Obviously V Star.
Oh, and
Uh,
one thing to say was this: are we grouping in Arceus V? I'm assuming we are, right? Or are we
yeah,
not?
I think yes. If it's particularly good, I mean, for like Arceus V Star, the V is good, but I think it's the V Star what is what it's about, though, right?
Yeah.
So for an evolution, it may take it into account. I would say. But
Yeah.
so it's 280 HP, a decent number.
It's
Um,
good. It's tanky.
yeah, for a V Star, that's where you want it to be, I think, right?
Yeah.
There's some that are less. So that's and then attack Trinity Nova, 200 damage for 3 energies. That's not bad. It's not great, but it's solid. And but then with it, you get to search your deck for 3 basic energy and attach them to your V Pokemon any way you like. So that's tremendous. I think with 200 damage, or often it's 180 because it's a DTE attached, and 3 energy accelerations, very good in and of itself. I think it might merit consideration then. But then the Starbirth ability is just tremendous. Obviously, only once per game is a V Star power, but then you search your deck for any 2 cards. So great with getting set up early game. Just makes so many decks viable.
I guess. I mean, it makes Arceus decks viable.
And
Uh,
any V
yeah, it
Star,
makes
V
any
Max decks.
any energy hungry V Star V Max more viable. But those Pokemon tend to be less viable, but now they're more viable. Um, yeah, I think it's probably belongs in the top 10. It's the first one we're talking about. And its ability. Do you say that?
Yeah, Starbirth, where you search your deck for any 2 cards, which is
Yeah.
just tremendous. Especially now that we lost the Intelliant engine. It's almost its own engine, right? Only once per game, but it kind of guarantees one turn you get exactly what you need and do what you want.
Yeah, I think this. Yeah, I mean it is very good, right? And then the V
Yeah,
itself also accelerates energy. It like works with the strategy. It's
right,
good. It's not like broken, but it's strong. And then yeah, I don't know. It can be played on its own. It can be played with other things.
right.
Right now, it's good. It's possibly the best Pokemon in the game right now, but I don't think it like controls the meta. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think this card's very good, but I'm not sure. I'd say it's possible, like in the possible
You
top
don't
10.
think so? It's probably it may be the best Pokemon in the game, but it might not be a top 10 card. That's pretty. I'm not sure what you're thinking. So does
Uh,
that mean no Pokemon can be
Maybe
top 10? But
I think it's
we'll
good. I
see as we
think
go on.
like it's a very good card, but it doesn't have any like insane strengths. Um, it's a very well rounded Pokemon, but it doesn't have any
Hmm.
insane strengths. So that's why like I don't know. It doesn't stand to like it to me. It doesn't stand out as like particularly amazing at anything. But it's just good overall. I don't know. I think honestly, like we don't have any list so far, so I think I'm gonna put it in the
No.
possible
Okay,
section.
that's
But
fine.
we'll
That's
see.
fine.
We'll see.
It is a colorless Pokemon. It kind of gets that vanilla generic sense to it, although it's actually quite good, I would say.
It's good. It's strong, but like it's not one
All right.
shotting. It's not like surviving
No.
everything. It's not accelerating all the energy in the world that you'd want. Its abilities are good, but obviously it's only once per game. So
Hmm.
I,
Okay.
it very well may end up in the top
All
10,
right.
but
We'll
we'll
put
see.
it in the maybe for now. We it's the first card, so we need things to compare it with.
Yeah.
So you want to toss out a Pokemon? Or I'll tell you what, I'm going to do one which I think was the set before it, and that's Genesect V, right? That was the previous set.
Yeah, Genesect V was previous main set at least. I don't remember if there are any mini sets in between.
Right, and they are a different mark in terms of rotation. So
Yeah.
Genesect V. Now it's a Fusion Strike card. It's part of the Fusion Strike package, which makes it tricky, right? It's this is probably the key piece to the Mew deck, but it's obviously you have to have Mew in a lot of other pieces. But it's 190 HP for a V, which is fine.
It's low. It's low.
It is, yeah, it's low. That's true. But you don't want to attack with it. It's here. It's the attack you copy most often with Mew, which is Technoblast, does 2 damage.
Wait, what?
I mean, 210 damage. Sorry, 210 damage, but it can't attack the next turn. Of course, Mew can retreat for free to get around that. You don't actually want to attack with Genesect V very often. But then the Fusion Strike system ability is tremendous. Once per turn, you draw until you have as many cards in hand as you have Fusion Strike Pokemon on play. So it's the engine to what may be the best deck since it came out, right? Over that time period, consistently add it all up, I think it would be the best deck.
Yeah. So I think Genesect V is amazing. I also in contention for the best Pokemon in the game right now, I think. So Shaman EX, do you like how familiar are you with Shaman?
Remind me.
It's this well, okay, it says draw till you have 6 cards in hand. It's Crobat V, but the one
Okay.
but you can use as
Right.
much as you want per turn. So it's banned and expanded because it's like allow you to draw through absurd amounts of cards. But that's pretty much the same amount of cards that Genesect lets you draw, except you can use Genesect every turn. So
Yeah.
so
It's not on play.
yeah. Of course, you do need to have a specific deck. Like you need to essentially be playing Mew VMAX, but it's still
Right.
amazing. And then its attack is like Zacian V. It's not quite, but it's close.
Almost, right.
Especially with all like the other stuff, it's essentially Zacian V, which is amazing, right? So, in my opinion, I think it's top 10. Like, it's so strong. When I saw this coming, I just said it was like Shaman EX plus Zacian V. I think it's like insanely good. Because it's like it's just very good. It does excel in multiple areas.
Here's the difficulty I have with it. And I know I put this on my list, and I'm pretty sure you put it on your list too. And obviously, it's not versatile at all. It's in one deck, so it loses points for me for that. And in and of itself, like without Mew VMAX and even all the other Fusion Strike cards, it's not that good. So that's
If you could play it like you could play just Genesect V with like say Metal Saucer, which isn't in the game right now, but like now we're looking at it like without the context of that, and I think that's like context is very important here, especially with like Power Tablet is very good.
Right.
And you're looking at it in the context of Mew VMAX, and Mew VMAX is good because of Genesect, I think.
This is the most important card to that deck, I think.
And then of course Mew VMAX itself is important, and double Turbo Energy is important, but like Genesect V defines the deck, and is what makes it what made it so dominant. I think this is better than Arceus. I think it's better than Arceus, actually.
I'd put Arceus better, but all right, you want to put this in the top 10? I keep it low.
Should we keep it in the possible tier?
Go ahead, and you can put it above Arceus since you're the one doing the tier list maker. That's what I assume you're going to do. You're going to ignore what I say on that. So
yeah. Okay, I'll bring up another card. I guess I'll talk about a newer card now. Kind of, sort of similar to Genesect. Not really. It's Chien-Pao EX, which is one of the 2 EXs we're going to talk about today. Right. Do you want to? I'll just say what it does. It does its ability. Oh, it's water basic with a solid HP for
220.
And then its ability lets it, if it's in the active, you search for 2 basic water energy. You can use other Chien-Paos as well. And the other, like you can switch to another one and use its ability. And then this attack here for 2 water energy, but you could have more. It doesn't really matter much. But it does. You discard any amount of water energy from your Pokemon in play in any way you want, and it does 60 per card discarded. So of course, if you discard if you discard 6 energy, you're pretty much one-shotting anything. And keep in mind, there's also Baxcalibur. We're not talking about Baxcalibur, but It allows you to accelerate the energy, and essentially the obvious partner for Chin Pao.
Yeah. Now I look at here. We didn't put Excalibur on our list, and in some ways, I wonder if that's the better card than this. Right? It's certainly more
I
versatile than
guess, but I think
the Chin
Chin
Pao.
Pao's really like strong. So I think Chin Pao's really good because it hits really hard. Like when I said Arceus didn't
Yeah.
excel at anything, Chin Pao does excel at anything. It excels at just one-shotting anything, and I think it's the best Pokemon in the game at one-shotting Pokemon right now.
It might be.
I
I mean,
can't think of
obviously,
anything that like is close off the top of my head. That's like reasonable.
the, you just need a lot of pieces for that turn to pull it off.
I get it
That's the
works
downside.
pretty well
Well,
though.
you have to have Excalibur, and you have to have the ability to suck in a lot of energy that turn,
But
right?
Chin Pao does get two,
It gets
and
two,
then
but you need at least another two, or probably more to one shot things.
but
So
then you
you
can use
need
like one superior energy retrieval,
right, as long
which
as you
isn't
have the ability to get that into hand that
which
turn.
most lists play 4 + 4 at Irida. I don't. I think this
It's
is
good.
strong. I'd say it's probably weaker than Arceus and Genesect though.
Okay. The one thing that I wish the retreat cost was one, and that would bump it up for me because you want the ability in the active. If you could retreat it for free with Beach Court, it would make it
Well, you can use
that little
Skaters
bit
Park
better.
though. You can use Skaters Park.
Oh, that's true. That's right. I forget about that. So yes, as long right, that's true. And then you can get the energies back. Okay.
But of course, it is reliant on Excalibur. I'd say it's a little weaker. Are we gonna
So
say it's
so
not? Like no.
let's put it. Yeah.
Okay.
You
And then
want
let's
to
talk
put
about the other EX,
yeah.
which is your boy, the one that
We had
I
Maridon EX.
yeah, and I was actually
Which
looking at a meta, like some meta stuff,
yeah.
and it's officially the worst deck in the game. Actually, no, it
It,
didn't go have a 0%. It had like a 4% win rate in a tournament or something. So anyway, right on EX, its ability lets it search for up to 2 basic lightning Pokemon, put them onto your bench, including other Rhydons, so you can
yeah.
essentially fill your bench. And this attack
Hmm.
here is just the same as Zacian V's, kinda. It does
Right.
220 for lightning colorless, and then it can attack again. 220 HP. Also, it has 1 retreat.
Right. What you need so you can attack the next turn. It's not really considered for this list, but in a sense, Electric Generator came out with it, and obviously makes it just that much better. Look, I love this card. It sets up really well. I've been playing that lately. And you get the best turn ones in the game with Miraidon EX because most of the time you have a perfect
Well, it's
bench.
essentially the only deck that attacks turn 1, other than Lost Zone, which we'll talk about.
Right, but it attacks turn one, and you can knock out a multi-prize Pokemon a lot of times with either your Miraidon or with your Raichu. So it attacks for bigger damage than anything else in turn one, really, outside of Mellow and Mew. But that you need to be more lucky. This does it pretty consistently. The problem is the deck really starts to struggle after turn one. So
Yeah, the text does say you can't attack, and next turn, really what it is more accurately you're saying is you can't attack for the rest of the game because you won't set up.
that's right, because you're getting a lightning power Pokemon to play, which is great, but then you don't really have don't have an engine, and you kind of hope you're set up. But I like it. I mean, I just don't think it's a top 10. It wasn't even on my list. I like the card a lot, but I don't think there's any way it's
Yeah,
top 10.
part of why
Would
I
you agree?
kind of like part of why I kind of consider it was its versatility. You could play it with Magnezone,
Yep.
like the Magnezone engine, but it's not that. You could play it with Rotom V. It does a little bit of versatility, but nah, it's not there. I don't
Okay.
think.
All right, good. Let's see here. So we've covered all the so let's hit the other multi-prize Pokemon here. So I'm looking at that's Lumineon V, which I think I think I had left that one off, but it's very good,
Wow.
right?
Okay.
I know
Yeah.
in terms of versatility, it's in a lot of decks. It has Luminous Signs ability. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto the bench during your turn, you may search your deck for a supporter card. So that's just tremendous. The attack, usually I don't attack with it, does 120 and it can go back in your deck, but that's not that
Yeah.
common with
I'd
it.
argue that like half the decks that play it probably can attack with it though.
Right, they can't at
Maybe.
all. And
No,
even
can.
and
Half like can.
oh, they can. Right. Yeah, water, especially with Melanie stuff, is strong. But even then, would almost never attack with this card. Even then,
Part of the issue is it's like low HP, like a really bad HP.
right? 170. Yeah.
So you can like getting it off can actually be very important. So you don't have this liability in play, even though it's not a particularly strong attack. But I don't know. I think this card's very good. I think it's possible top 10.
I think so too. It goes in a lot of decks. Obviously, this is the best way to search out a supporter
Oh, I realize we
in the
don't have
game.
Lugia on here. It's fine. Lugia's not that good.
Well, Lugia, obviously, I mean, I think we might both say that Archeops is better than Lugia, right?
Yeah,
It's
I
just that
think
you
it's
don't have
overrated though.
Archeops without Lugia.
Yeah, I think it's a bit overrated, especially without Aurora Energy. It's kind of underwhelming right now.
I mean,
Anyways,
look, it's certainly a solid play, but I don't think those cards would make the list, in our opinion.
yeah. Anyway,
Um,
so
th- I think it's a maybe. It's a very strong card. It's hurt right now by the loss of Quick Ball because now Nest Ball is the primary way to get basics into play, and
yeah,
you can't use that. So I know. So within the Paldea evolved meta, it's hurt by that some, but I think it's a contender.
yeah, yeah. So I'll say it's possible. Um, Next up, I think we'll talk about the other rule box Pokemon being Radiant
Hmm.
Greninja.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think Radiant Greninja is amazing. Its ability, so it's a Radiant, you can only play one Radiant in your deck, but its ability is discard energy from your hand to draw 2 cards, which is very
Yeah.
solid.
Hmm.
Useful for a wide variety of things. It just straight up
Yeah.
draw primarily. This attack here for Water Colorless does 90 to 2 your opponent's Pokemon.
Hmm.
Honestly, I think this is definitely top 10. I think it's a strong ability that's the best Radiant by far right
Hmm.
now, and honestly, one of the best attackers in the game right now because there's so many decks that need single prize basics on the bench. Like, say, Gardevoir, Chien-Pao,
Hmm.
Lost Zone, honestly, most of the top decks. And Radiant Greninja is really annoying for those decks. So annoying
Yeah.
that people are running double Manaphy, people are running Canceling Cologne, um, and it's very good with Jin Pao, Lost Zone, which are possibly the 2 best decks in the game right now.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think this is top 10.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it goes to the top of the list right now of what
I
we
mean,
have.
it's the only one we have that's top 10.
Okay, you didn't put Genesect up there. Okay,
No. No.
that's fine. It is, and it goes in so many decks. There's a lot of decks that play it that can't even ever attack with it just because that the ability is so good. So, yeah, I mean, it's super versatile. It's super strong. Um, yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I think we should talk about Manaphy next then, which is pretty much just bench barrier.
Hmm.
So it makes your
Right.
bench Pokemon immune to damage from attacks. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's top 10. Like, it's good, but it sees a lot of play. But I don't think it's top 10. I think it's okay.
Right. It's an important card in that it protects your bench. It is important to a lot of any deck that has squishy bench Pokemon that need to be helping you out over the course of the game. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be a top 10 card. So I
Yeah.
think we can dismiss that. Do we want to jump out to another type of card, or do we want to, rather than
I
finish
think
up
we
with
should
Pokemon?
finish up the Pokemon. I think
Okay.
what we should talk about one that you put on here, which is kind of interesting, which
Hmm.
sup- I don't know. It's Mimikyu. And tell that to the listeners what that
Yeah,
does.
so this is a new card, Paldea Evolved card. It's not seeing a lot of play yet, but I think it's got a lot of potential. It's got the ability Safeguard, which prevents all damage to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's EX and V Pokemon. So it's immune to all EX and Vs, which is all we have in the game right now. So it's very
Well, and
strong.
single prizes. There are a lot of those.
Oh, there are cards that are single prizers. Obviously, I certainly Blissey Miltank was a surprisingly strong deck back in the day. This fills that role of the Miltank because it does EXs also. The attack Ghost Die for 2 energy. It wants a psychic, so that's awkward for a lot of decks. But you put 7 damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon, not bad. Um,
Mm.
I don't
I
think it's
think
going to make
it's
the list though.
yeah.
But
I
go ahead.
don't think it's on there. Like, it's not very techable. And it doesn't really auto win any matchups. Pretty much every deck in the game, honestly, is like a mixture of single prize and multi prize. So it's not that good. It has some niche use. I think it's actually playable in Lost Zone, possibly Gardevoir, but
Hmm.
no one's playing it. I don't think it's amazing. I think it's definitely not top 10.
But just keep an eye out for it, because I think it will have value and it'll cause trouble on and off.
Yeah. Now I want to talk about what do you want to talk about next?
I'll talk about this card that I put on the list that I'm not sure it's a bit odd that I put it on, and that's Comfy. it's a super powerful card. It's obviously not broad at all, though. So Comfy, Lost Zone, kind of the heart of the Lost Zone engine, perhaps, with the Flower Awakening ability. Once during a turn, if this Pokemon's in the active spot, you may look at the top two cards of your deck, put one in your hand, the other in the Lost Zone. So a very good engine card. Um, we lost Net, obviously, so it works a little not quite as good. Jet Energy can help it as long as you don't need to attach elsewhere. An attack that's negligible, right? 30 for 2. You really almost never wanted to use that, but a very, very strong ability for a heart, the Lost Zone
I think we should talk
engine.
about like the other cards we have here as well. They're lost
Okay.
zone. So I'll also mention them.
Yeah.
So we also have Cole's Experiment supporter that
Yeah.
says like the top 5, put 3 of them into your hand, 2 into the lost zone, which is
Yes.
good. As you mentioned earlier, it's versatile. You can play in other decks. Is it just a very
Hmm.
solid overall draw supporter? Although you do of
Yeah.
course lose cards permanently, but right.
But you
Your
get, but you
deck's
get to
bad anyway,
choose
so
3 out of 5 to keep. So
no,
that's
yeah,
not.
it's quite
That's
solid.
actually, yeah.
It's like a really good version of Hop. Um, and then we also have Mirage Gate, which is if you have 7 cards in the
Yes.
Lost Zone, put search your deck for 2 basic energy of different types and accelerate them to your Pokemon in any way you like.
Yeah.
Tremendously powerful. I'd say it's definitely stronger than Beast Ring, which was already a very good card. Maybe that's not true, but I think it's stronger. So that's good. And then also we have
Yeah.
Sableye here with its attack, Lost Mine. Well, it's a basic Pokemon, 80 HP, but for 1 Psychic, you do put, if you have 10 cards or more in the Lost Zone,
Hmm.
you go ahead and put 12 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. And we don't have Cramorant on here. I don't think Cramorant's like... Sableye's better than Cramorant, I'll say. So,
Yeah. We haven't forgotten Cramorant. It is a good card, important, but it's not as important as a card like Sableye. No.
so I don't know. This is kind of weird. I think Colas' Experiment is very good. So Colas Experiment and Comfy are the enablers.
Hmm.
And the Mirage Gate and Sableye are like the 2 biggest payoffs. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. Where do you start with this? Like,
I mean, in terms of the engine pieces, if I were to put that Comfy and Colress, I think I'd have to put I'd put Colress above it. I don't think it's one. Comfy is one piece. It's a great deck, but an important piece. But I don't think I can put Comfy on the top 10 cards.
yeah, I think it's possible though. I think I'm gonna put in possible for now.
Okay, I think Colress Experience is above it though because it's obviously super important to Lost Zone's engine, but it's also it's viable for other decks too.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And then I think Mirage Gate is top 10. Actually, I don't know. I thought it used to be top 10.
Hmm.
I don't
It's
know.
really good.
I think it's not.
Tough.
I think because more EXs are in play, a
Hmm.
card like Sky Sealstone isn't as good, which was very nice with Mirage Gate for like
Yeah.
versatility in various matchups. I think
Hmm.
Mirage Gate it also belongs in the like is possible, but
Possible, but not the definite.
yeah, I'll put it actually above Comfy. I don't know, they're close.
Okay.
And then Sableye, I think it's in the same boat. I think Sableye is amazing, like it is.
Yeah,
Um, it
it
again
is.
is possibly the best attacker in the game right now.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it's like I don't know. It's like a late game. It's like a mid to late game thing. It
Hmm.
doesn't actually do that much damage. So actually no, I'd say Sableye isn't top 10. It's very
Okay.
good, but I don't think it's top
So
10.
did you put Colress in the top 10 or no? Or
Yeah, I
none of
put
them?
Colors in the top 10.
Colress.
Um,
And then what's in the maybe
Mirage
category?
Gate and Comfy.
Okay. And not Sableye.
No, I changed my mind about Sableye.
All right. I mean, Sableye's terrific, but you have to do so much work with the other Lost Zone cards to get there. Probably it doesn't. Sableye in it of itself can't make the list.
Yeah. I'll talk about another attacker now. The last one we have on the
Mhm.
list. Well, I guess the last one we have on the list. That being Snorlax, which
Yeah.
has a big HP of 150, an ability that makes them immune to effective attacks, an attack that does 180 for 3, and then it puts itself to sleep, but that's not a huge deal. So this has been seeing now lots of play in specifically Lugia. And it's also been
Hmm.
seeing play in Lost Zone. I don't know.
Mhm.
The more I think about this, I don't think it belongs in the top 10.
I mean, part of why it's moved up now, right? With it's the therapy energy or therapeutic energy that so it can't go to sleep, right?
Yeah.
So it gets takes care of that downside to it. Um, it's lit. All right, it's at 3 energy to attack, so it's limited for what can do it. Lugia obviously can. Um, 150 is good for a single prize, but it does 180 damage. That's the big thing with it, which is a solid number. But yeah, I think there's just better options. The retreat cost of 4 is still bothersome too, I gotta say.
Yeah. Um. So
So
yeah,
is this
that's that.
it's a
No,
no
no.
then, right?
Yeah, that's a no.
Okay, good. Yeah, we got to make some progress here. So
Yeah, and then yeah, you can't see the list, but I'll tell you, um, we're doing fine. We don't have 10 cards in top 10 or possible right now. So,
no,
um,
so Sableye is a maybe, Snorlax is a no.
no, no,
I didn't
Sableye is also a no.
Sableye is a no, Snorlax is a no. Comfy was a maybe.
Yeah,
Colress is a yes, or was that
yeah,
a maybe?
yeah. Close is a
A
yes.
yes. Okay,
Anyway, so now we have
sorry.
Zoroark. We'll go through it at the end to actually figure out the list.
Okay,
Um, so Zoroark is the next one I want to talk about with its ability Phantom Transformation, stage one, allowing it to switch into any other stage one.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. Zoroark's really interesting. Home to my favorite deck, possibly one of my favorite decks ever, Zoroark. Um, and so I don't know though. It's not top 10, is it?
No, it's moved up on the rise with how they evolve, right? With reversal energy, for one thing, gives a lot of options. Obviously, the EXs, stage one EXs, it can become, so that keeps adding it to its power. It's certainly better position than it has been, but yeah, I don't think it's going to make the cut this time.
Yeah. Okay, now we have two engines. We'll talk about. You want to
Hmm.
introduce your boy here?
Yeah, but Barrel here, which and we also disagree, I think, on which is the best engine generally card. I think the Barrel is likely the best engine card in the game. It's certainly super versatile. A lot of decks play it. Obviously, it pairs with Squove. It's got Industrious Incisors ability. Sorry. You can draw once per turn, so you have 5 cards in hand. So it's very nice. And obviously, if you're worried about Iono getting played, which can get to your small hand, this solves that problem. 120 HP isn't bad for a bench Pokemon in that Radiant Greninja doesn't one-shot it. So that's nice. Um, it's a very solid card. The attack is nothing to get excited about, but it's just a nice engine piece that fits into a lot of decks. So it's got a lot of versatility.
Yeah. I think it's impossible. I don't know. I don't love this engine. It
Yeah.
sees play in some decks.
Arceus, which of course is top 10, it goes in decks that I like, where you kind of see some cards and you figure out what pile of cards you got and you do something.
Yeah. Well, the I think we'll put in possible for now.
I think that's
Um,
fair.
but this other card also goes in decks you like. Specifically, it goes in cast form. But next is Curlia, and now we're looking at the whole evolution line, kinda. Um,
And it also goes in Rapid Strike Malamar, so this probably goes to the top of the list. But
mhm.
go ahead.
So Curlia is discard one, draw two as a stage one. It does
Yep.
also level ball searchable, which is amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
and then it also has a very powerful Gardevoir EX, another single prize Gardevoir, a Gallade, another Gallade, and
Hmm.
there's a very strong Ralts as well, or versatile and powerful Ralts.
Yeah.
And obviously those are all good. Curlia is the like heart of it, but
Hmm.
you need to keep the other ones in mind. I think this is definitely top 10.
Well, if you bring in like Gardevoir EX, which isn't on the list, as adding to this, then it pushes it up a lot.
Yeah, and I
Obviously,
think they're it's like
if you limit to just the Curly, the fact that Radiant Greninja takes out 2 of these, you know you're going to be left in tears a lot of games. But
yeah, I mean yeah, that's bad, but I think Reading Ninja is better than Curlia, but I think Curlia is top 10.
you think that's top 10 and Comfy's a maybe?
Yeah, I think it's better. I think they're both very good.
Maybe. They
Um,
are. All right. I'll let you do that for now.
yeah,
We'll have to
we can
obviously
kick it out
finalize at the
if we
end.
have to.
Yeah. All right. So we've hit all our Pokemon now, correct?
Yes, we have.
All right. Good.
So, where do you want to start with the trainers?
Trainers. Let's start with the supporters. because those are some of the really strong ones, and we're gonna, I
Yeah.
think, start to fill up a lot of deck slots. In fact, we could have filled up the list with just probably Professor's Research and Boss's Orders if we go with all the different names of the cards, right? But they stack up, so you only get four of each. So I'm going to throw out Professor's Research, right? It should need no introduction, but you discard your hand, draw seven cards, just a staple card in almost every deck. Such, early game, you really almost always want one of these to get set up. I don't know what else I need to say.
Yeah, it's top 10. Yeah, we'll see where exactly it falls in the top 10, but it's
Okay.
very good. Um, yeah, I think it stays in the top 10. I don't know. It's now with like stage 2 decks, I don't like it as much, but it's quite good.
Yeah, I mean that's true.
I mean, Gardevoir still plays it too. Like, yeah. Anyway, so Boss's Orders.
Hmm.
Just switch from your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active Pokemon. This very well may be the best card in the game in my opinion. The biggest controversy is about like where to place it is that it's essentially the only card in the game that does what it does, at least to
Right.
a strong level, which means it's like a play. It's played in every deck. Like Professor's Research isn't played in every deck. Boss's Orders pretty much is, because it's very good. I
Hmm.
think it's top 10. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's top 10. It's a finisher card, right? Like a card like Research is a setup card. You usually want that early game. Boss's Order, you usually play less of them. Like you usually play with Research if you're playing at three or four. Boss's Order, you're playing like one or two, and you get one at the end of the game to close out the game. That's kind of where it is in a lot of decks, but obviously very important thing.
yeah. So yeah, those are both going in the top 10.
Yeah.
Next up, let's talk about Iono. Each player
Mhm.
shuffles their hand, puts so it's a supporter card again. Each player shuffles their hand, puts it on the bottom of their deck, draws a card for each prize they have remaining. Um, and that's very good.
Yeah.
Notably, if you're down, it's amazing. It's disruption to your opponent.
Hmm.
It's draw for you. It's like the best form of shuffle draw in the game turn one because we don't have Cynthia. We have like Sean on Youngster, which are only shuffle draw five, so Iono by
Hmm.
default draws more. Um,
Right.
I
Now,
mean, I
when you say
think
shuffle, it's shuffle and go to the bottom. So it's a little
yeah,
different there, but it's not a huge difference.
yeah. I think Iono is like one of the best support cards in the game. I think it's also easily top 10.
Yeah, I mean it's super. It's obviously one of the new Paldea Evolve cards. Super hyped. It's very similar to N. The only difference is the cards go on the bottom. It, I mean, it's better. It kind of is like Roxanne that it helps you when you're behind, but you can use it from the start of the game. It's similar to Judge, but you get early game you get six cards in hand instead of four. So it's yeah, it's a top 10 card.
Yeah. And then you mentioned Judge. Each player shuffles their hand into their deck, draws four.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know where to put this one. It's not as good as Iono, certainly. It's not as good as the other supporters.
I mean, I don't think it's there. Honestly, it wasn't on my list to consider. I mean, to me, when Iono came out, it replaced Judge and Roxanne, and Roxanne is not on our list. I don't think. I mean, Judge is a good card, but I don't think. I mean, it's at what? It's the third or fourth, or it's the fourth or fifth best supporter card,
Yeah,
right?
but it's still very good. I think like it offers disruption in a way that's very consistent. Iono, like if you want to punish your opponent turn one, Judge is the
Mm-hmm.
way, or turn two or whatever. Um, if you wanna, and also like Iono near the end of the game won't necessarily be
Yeah,
able to clutch out the game for you because you're like drawing two cards. You're shuffling your like five card hand in your
yeah.
deck to draw two cards. I think it's I can in consideration. So
You could put it as a maybe. It's definitely not a definite, I would say, but we
yeah,
can see where it stands at the end.
yeah. Next up we have two more. I guess to talk about Raihan. You want
Hmm.
to read that one out?
Yeah. So if your Pokemon was knocked out last turn, I don't have the exact text here. Then you can attach a basic energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. It can be the active or the benched. And besides that, if you do that, then you get to search your deck for any one card. So obviously, energy acceleration is always big, but then the fact you search your deck for any one card is a tremendous upside. A useful card in a lot of decks. Obviously, you need to play basic energies, and it's all the more powerful in single prize decks where you're getting knocked out more regularly. Then you're going to have several opportunities to play Raihan and take advantage of this card.
Yeah. So I personally have never played a Raihan, because I've never been KO'd. But um, no, I think Raihan's okay. I think it's not as good in the meta as it used to be. Um, like it doesn't have that many synergistic cards. Like it used to be really good in Lost, or now it's not. I don't know. I think this is maybe. I'm honestly tempted to say it's just not.
Well,
Like what decks are very good in?
yeah, I mean, mostly I played it pre-rotation, right? Like with Intellion Engine decks. With water, I still would play it with water energy decks, as like you have
Like
your
what
Melody.
decks though?
Right now,
Like
I'm not
most of
sure
those
that I'm.
water decks now play Irida, which we'll talk about in a second. Um,
Yeah, I mean, look, you're right. Raihan's
I
down.
think Raihan's fallen off. I think Raihan's
I
not in the
think it
top
has.
10
So I
now.
think it's not. I think no, I think that's a fair point. I think probably with rotation, and there's some good special energies that came out, so it probably isn't there now.
Yeah. And then Irida, which is a supporter, search your deck for a uh, water Pokemon and an item card. This is very good.
Yeah.
Water is very good. Radiant Greninja, we talked about. Manaphy and Lumineon are all three cards we talked about that are versatile and see tons of play.
Yep.
In Irida can get those. So even if you're not playing a water deck, there are decks that play for Irida. Um,
Hmm.
I think this
And we
is
have
possible.
Yeah, and we have the stage two decks that want rare candy, so this gets you the rare candy. So it's a rise for some of those decks too. Yeah, I mean it's not at the level of Research Boss Iono, I don't think.
I
Um,
think it's close. I think it's very close to that level.
I think it's
It's not as versatile. It's not in every deck, but in decks that's in, it's like it's amazing. It is the backbone. Like in Shin Pao Excalibur,
mhm.
which is one of the best decks in the game right now. It's the backbone of the whole deck. In Palkia decks, again, backbone.
I would think I'd say it's near the top of the maybe list for now. Is that
Yeah, yeah.
would you
I'm gonna
say that
pop
that's
it right
where to
there.
put it?
Yep.
Okay,
Um,
good.
and then we'll talk about items now, I suppose. We'll jump into the Pokemon search. So let's start with Ultra Ball. Yes, discard two cards from your hand
Hmm.
to search for any Pokemon card, any Pokemon.
Yeah, it's a tremendous card. I mean, I think it's going to be top 10. Obviously, it gets you basic or evolution. It discards from your hand, which there's a number of decks that want to get things in the discard pile. So, especially since we have quick ball, sometimes you don't like to discard two. I get that. But to search for any one Pokemon, and there's only a couple of different items to discard with. So, I think it's a super, super important card.
Yeah, I think it's definitely top 10. It's like it kind of replaces Quick Ball. It's very good.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it partners with your favorite Pokemon, Barrel as well. So,
That's right.
um,
Then your hand down, and there you go.
yeah.
Yep.
I think if we also had quick ball, I don't know, the game would be a little different because like discarding, but it's good.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
back when you had Quick Ball and Evo Incense, this might not be there, but to net now, I think it is.
yep.
Um,
Next up we
and
have
then
Nest Ball.
Nest Ball, I assume, right? That's the other big Pokemon search card. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon, put it onto your bench. Obviously, kind of the replacement of Quick Ball, but it goes directly on the bench, so it's no good to get Lumineon V or any card with an on-play ability. So it's not quite as good as Quick Ball, I would say. Um,
Yeah, quick
but
ball is like
obviously,
a four of in every deck. It was probably the best card in the game until it rotated. I think
mhm.
Nest Ball's still top 10 though.
Probably. I mean, it may be low top 10. So what you want to put
I'll,
it low top 10
I'll
and we'll
put
see
it
if it's
top of
hangs around.
possible. I'll put it on top of possible.
Okay.
Now Battle VIP Pass. Search for two basics, put them straight into your bench. Only on the first turn of the game, though. I think this
Yeah.
is like not top 10. I mean, it's good, but it's definitely worse than Nest Ball.
It is, but well, there's decks though that play four of this, right? And then they
I
draw
know.
sometimes
I
don't
don't
play
like
any
that.
nest ball.
I don't like that. I think this is not as good as Nest Ball.
I don't like a card like this personally because I don't like a card that's a dead card for the rest of the game. But I do play it in decks, when I feel like I forced to. And honestly, I do get a lot of value out of it. But yeah, let's not put it in top 10. I
Yeah, I
think
mean it's a
we'll
good
be
card
happier.
certainly, but
Hmm.
it's not the best certainly. Okay,
Yeah.
now I guess the last ball card, that being Hisuian Heavy Ball, allowing you to
Yep.
grab a basic out of your prizes. I don't think this is like top 10. It's good, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I just don't think it's seeing quite enough play right now to be top 10.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good card. But no, I don't think it's going to make top 10. It's not. A lot of decks don't play it at all. It's good, obviously, keep it in mind, but no, top 10, no.
Um, so now let's talk about the big three, right? You know them. You love switch, switch cart, and escape rope. Um,
Yeah, this will be interesting. It's a tricky set of cards to rank.
Yeah, so switch, obviously just switch your active with one of your benched. Switch card,
Hmm.
switch your active basic with one of your benched and heal 30. And escape rope, switch your active with one of your bench. Your opponent also does it. They do it first, I
Hmm.
think. And obviously
Yeah,
they
your opponent,
choose what they switch and you choose what you switch.
right?
Um,
But since they go first, you get that knowledge benefit
yeah.
by by
Um,
reacting.
mhm.
I,
I'm going to say
I
switch card is not top 10.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was gonna say too, because it's only basics. It's the most limited of the cards. So I think
Although
this
I might
one's
actually see like the most play, but whatever.
well, right. The decks that want it really like it, obviously, but
Yeah.
it's more limited. Switch is itself is that's obviously the very vanilla card that's around always and forever. I think in the game. Um, Escape rope's really strong though in a lot of decks. I'm inclined to put that ahead of Switch, but I want to hear what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I guess. I always find whenever I have escape rope that like it doesn't work out, but I probably just only notice the times when it doesn't work out. There are times when it's very good. Yeah, I'd say escape rope's top 10, and no, I'd say they're both
They're
near
both
like near the
maybes.
top of possible. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I think that's fair enough, and we'll have to see where things fall to.
Yeah. Now we have a few more items. Let's talk about, I guess, super rod, shuffle in any up to three in any
Hmm.
combination of Pokemon and basic energy from your discard pile into your deck. Um, this is good.
Yeah, it's a very good card. In the reprint, they changed the text slightly. It's up to three instead of having to be three. Look, I'm very happy to have this card in format. I think it's very important because we lost Rod, ordinary Rod, so this is fills an important slot. But I don't think it's going to be top 10.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I mean, it's very good. But I
I mean,
guess
I,
it's
I
not top 10.
I think what I mean, if you want to put it, maybe you can. I don't think there's any way it's going to get there though.
Yeah, you're probably right on that. And then the last item card
Yeah, lost.
here, that would be Lost Vacuum. Put a card from your hand to your
Yeah,
Lost Zone, and then Lost Zone a Pokemon Stadium or like a Stadium card from play
or
or
tool.
a tool. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously a very important card. Getting rid of stadiums, particularly past to the peak for some decks and such, is very important. It does get cards in the lost zone, so it can help the lost zone engine. Although primarily, we didn't bring it up in that discussion because that's not mostly what it's there for. Bumping tools is important, but not as important generally as bumping a stadium. But I think though it's not going to probably make top 10 though, even though it's an important piece for some decks.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's like in some ways it's gotten better. It's searchable with Irida, which is
Hmm.
good.
Yeah.
Um, but no, it's not top 10.
Okay.
It's quite good. It's versatile. In some ways, I think we should now mention Field Blower, which was top 10. I think when it was in
Yeah, Field
standard.
Blower was just a much better card than
Well, I
this.
think Field Blower is much better, but also more importantly, it was like really important in the meta it was in.
Hmm.
In some senses, in a similar way because they both stopped ability lock, like Lost Vacuum
Yeah.
and Field Blower. But like Path to the Peak, we'll talk about it. But Path to the Peak isn't as powerful as Garbodor, certainly. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you want to talk about Path now?
Yeah, so stadiums, which is a short list. I think the shortest list we have, and that path to the peak, I think, is the big one. And I think this is a top 10 card. Well, maybe. I think it's a
Yeah.
super
So,
strong
and can you say
card.
what it does?
Yeah, so I should. Yeah, so any Pokemon with a rule box, which is these EXs and the Radiant Pokemon, then they have no abilities. So very important, right? Shuts off Radiant Greninja, a very powerful card, or any Radiant Pokemon it shuts off. Obviously, Genesect V, any Vs, like Arceus V Star, a lot of, and obviously the EX is also like Gardevoir EX. Obviously, it is one of the Gardevoir EX, which is brutal once it sets up. If you're playing against it, this shuts it down. If you can knock out their active with the energy, get a path to stick, they're in a lot of trouble. So I think it's a super important card.
I think it's good. I don't think it's as good as it was, especially because so many decks are just playing so many stadiums. It just gets like bumped very quickly. I think I'm gonna put it in the top of possible.
Okay, I think
It,
that's fair. Might
it's
not.
very good, but it's not as good as it used to. It used to like dominate the meta. It doesn't
Hmm.
do that anymore. Like you played Maridon and you're like you don't like Path and it's bad, but like a lot of the
Right.
times you probably just bump it, especially with Force Seal Stone, which we'll talk about in a second. That makes it not as bad.
Yeah. And the fact that like mu decks are sometimes playing 3 and 4 path in them, a deck that path should be crushing, they actually want to get it in play because of lost vacuum. They can kind of control when they have it and not. So that reduces the significance of it, I
Yeah.
would say.
And also like a lot of decks do have like say there's the newest deck in the game, Chen Pao Excalibur,
Hmm.
or even the deck Glugia Archeops isn't super reliant on um like multi-price abilities. It kind of
Right.
but the Path doesn't necessarily crush those decks. So then the next stadium, Beach Court, reducing the two cost of basics by one. I don't think this is top
Mhm.
10.
No, it's an important card for some decks, but it's a limited set of decks, and obviously there's a lot of other switching options. So, Lost Zone likes it, Maridon likes it, but it's not going to be top 10.
Yeah. And now tools. So we got a few here. I'll talk about Choice Belt first. The Pokemon this tool is attached to does 30 more to Pokemon V.
Hmm.
I don't think this is top 10. I mean, it's a good card, but like there aren't that many like Pokemon. Like there are a bunch, but they're not the most common. Like less than half your matches, this will probably be like important.
Yeah, I mean now with how they evolve, we have two sets of EX Pokemon plus obviously single prizers. So the value of this is just is dropping. So it can be an important card in some decks, but it's not what it was. It's not top 10, I don't
Yeah.
think.
And then Defiance Band. If you're down on prizes, you do 30 more. Again,
Hmm.
I don't not top 10.
No, it's a solid card, but it's not no, it's not top 10. Choice Belt probably I'd place above it even. So
Yeah.
it's not. But then the third tool I think is I'm going to argue this one is, and this is Forest Seal Stone with the Star Alchemy ability, right? You can use it as your V Star power as long as it's attached to a V Pokemon. And then during your turn, you may search your deck for one card and put it into hand, and shuffle your deck after. So it's a half of an Arceus's Star Alchemy. It's the same name, isn't it?
What's it?
Right?
It's called?
Star Alchemy
No,
is the
no, it didn't. No, Arceus is Starbirth.
Star Birth. Okay, sorry. So it's
It's
half of a
different.
Star Birth. A super card, obviously, as EXs come out more, it drops. But any the VMAX deck, like Mugenisect, a Maridon
Rhydon,
Regieleki, right? It's a very powerful card in a lot of decks.
yeah. Also, seeing a lot of play in Lost Zone, which surprises me. I think it's. I don't think it's clearly top 10, but I think it's the top of
It's a mate.
possible. Yeah,
So maybe okay. I think that's fair because we have a lot of strong contenders. So I think
yeah.
a possible is good for me.
Okay, now we
Right.
have
So.
some special energies. So this is a
Mhm.
card that you really like. I mean, it's a good card, but double turbo energy. Special energy
Yeah.
provides two colors. Your attacks do 20 less, but
Yep.
still a good effect.
Yeah, and obviously it goes with my boy Arceus that you seem to be a hater on for some reason, but a super powerful card when it came out. It works with a lot of things. With some of the new special energies, perhaps it's slightly less important, but I think it's still important to a lot of decks. I think it's probably top 10. I think it's going to be, I think it's the strongest of the energies myself, but we'll see when we finish this discussion. I think it's at
Yeah.
least a maybe.
Yeah. I'll stick it like somewhere in the middle of maybe. Okay, next we have reversal energy. Provides three energy of any type if you're down on prizes to an
Mhm.
evolution. Non-rule box. I don't know. It's good, but I don't think it's not top 10. Not right now,
Yeah,
at least.
I mean the limitations, right? You have to be behind on prizes. I can always manage that. I know you're never behind on prizes, so you will never get to play the card. Um, and obviously it's only an evolution, non-rule box, so just a lot. You can't use it at all in a lot of things. Um, it's a good card, something to keep in mind, but I don't think it's top 10 now.
Yeah. I don't. It's not quite there. And now we got a few interesting ones. The final cards, basic water energy, and the last one's also gonna be basic psychic energy. So basic water energy is of course very good. as it sees
Yep.
play and enables many of the top decks in the game right now, such as Chen Pao, any deck with attacking the Radiant Greninja,
Hmm.
um, Ursh Ventalion, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, you've got so many pieces. I think water probably has the most pieces in the game right now. It doesn't mean it's the best, but it's got this. It's got Excalibur. It's got Irida, Palkia, Chin Pao, Melanie, Radiant Greninja. I'm sure there's some other things I've forgotten. There's just a lot of pieces to work with
Well, so
water
does
energy.
Grass. Grass has like Gardenias. It's got Fortress. It's got all these amazing pieces too.
Well,
No,
not
but
quite as many, but yeah,
no,
and
it has
grass is
some more
still
as well.
bad. So
Yeah.
obviously there are some good water attackers too to make it work too.
Yeah, I think water energy is quite good. I think water energy. Okay, so and then let's talk about psychic
Let's talk
energy
about
before
psychic
we
too, and then
place it.
yeah,
So
yes,
psychic is very good. Again, some of the best attacks in the game. We talked about Sableye,
hmm
Gardevoir,
yep.
Giratina. Yeah, there are
Right.
some other
You
ones
got
too, I think.
Ashen V, the cards that go in the Gardevoir decks.
Yeah. So these are very good cards. But they're also
Hmm.
basic energy. So
Right.
I don't really know where to put these. Not gonna lie.
I just don't think they can make it right on their own. They're just not top 10, right?
I don't. I mean,
Obviously,
I no, but I don't know. Like
I
they're
mean, because
kind
like
of like trainers. They support the deck. They're not the attackers. They're not the engine. But
but it's only. I mean, look, these are probably the two most important energy types right now in the game because of all these pieces that go with them. But ultimately, it's about the pieces that are what make them good. I think so.
well, but by that logic, I feel like stuff like boss and research aren't as good.
So you, so you think they're good? I mean, you want to put them maybe? You can't put them in top 10 right now. If you want to put them in maybe, we could consider
Yeah,
them.
let's put it in. Let's put it in maybe. Okay, so now that's it. So I'll read off the list now.
All right,
So the
you go.
top 10 that we have, this
Hmm.
is not exactly ordered, but we
Go
have
ahead.
Boss Research, Iono, Colvis Experiment. We also have Ultra Ball, Arena Greninja, and Curlia. The
Wait,
Curlia kind of line as well.
hang on. Boss Research, Iono, Colress.
Yep. Ultra Ball, Curlia, and Radiant Greninja. Um, so that's
Okay,
seven. I think those all belong there, but we'll take
maybe I don't know because there's some pretty good ones that aren't. So
yeah.
okay, so
Um, okay, let's see. So we got a lot here. Also
let's go through
like
them a little slower so we can try to say in and out with some.
yeah.
Hopefully, we can
So
do that.
for Sealstone, uh, I let's see. This is like the hard part.
Okay, I think that's a maybe still. Let's.
Yeah,
Is that okay? We'll just leave
yeah.
it as a maybe.
Um,
We had
and
Pass to the Peak as the only stadium.
yeah, Path. I think that's not it. I don't think
I
Path
think I
is.
think it's yeah. When I look at these other cards, it's not there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nest Ball I have. I think Nest Ball is gonna stay.
Yeah, let's keep it as a maybe.
Yeah. Double
It
Turbo.
probably comes.
Yeah. Or actually no. Well, I'll go with items next. So rope and switch. Oh.
Wow, that's tough. I mean, now did we say no to Mirage Gate? I'm trying to remember.
No. Mirage Gate's possible still.
It's a possible.
If you want
Okay.
to say no more to Mirage Gate, it's like too
Yeah,
limited.
I think so. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
too
it's
too
fair.
too niche for that. Wow, I kind of feel like we need one of those, at least one switch card
Should we
here, right?
put?
Because
Rope. Let's put rope in top 10, and
rope
top
is the
switch.
more okay. If you want to say switch, I could go either way.
I feel like
It's
switch
very
is more representative, but rope's like better and sees more play. So
yeah. Okay, so switch is a no then,
yeah,
or is
yeah.
it a maybe?
No,
Okay.
no, we're dropping switch. They're realistically almost the same,
Yeah, I
but
agree.
we just
So
need to make
okay.
decide to do
No.
one.
Yep. No, that's good. All
Um,
right. So that finishes the items, right?
so yeah, now Judge I think isn't in the top 10. Like
Yeah, I think that's a no. Yeah.
Irida, I think Irida is not in the top 10. I don't like it's
I think
decisively
it's just outside
yeah.
probably, but it's outside, but it's super strong.
Okay, now we have a bunch of Pokemon.
So did we
So
say no to Colress?
Close Experiment.
Oh, Colress is in there.
Yeah,
Okay,
close
it's
is in.
top 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, did we say DTE? Or you didn't do
No.
energy
Okay,
yet?
we can talk about DT. So I don't know about it. I
I
don't
think
think
it's
it's
a
in.
maybe.
We can leave it as a
You think
maybe
it's
for
out?
now. I think it's like what's it Seaplane? It's in Arceus, which is good, but it's not like the best part of
Yeah.
Arceus. It's in Lugia. Um, which is good, but it's not the
I'm
best card.
excited about playing Blissey again, and you never
But you
give
haven't
that any
played
love.
that. You like haven't played that.
I know I don't have all the pieces yet,
What
but
do you
I'm
mean
getting
you
there.
don't? What do you like need for Blissey?
Well, because I'm not crafting, I need the new Cape of Toughness, Charm of Bravery, or whatever it's called.
Charm of Courage.
Yeah, Charm of Courage. I need
Okay.
4 of those.
I don't-
And the come on, the new and
yeah.
the Mimikyu. Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Back to the
I
old
don't
days.
think Double Turbo is top 10. I think it's
You
close,
think it's
but
out,
I
huh?
think it's out. I think it. Do you
All
want to?
right.
I'll leave it there for now.
No, I'll put it in the no column.
Okay.
I'll put it in the no column, but I've noted it just in case. All right, we're gonna leave off the basic energies still.
Yeah, I
We're
guess
not gonna
so.
discuss.
We'll say no.
I mean,
No, we'll say no.
okay.
I feel like it feels a little weird to put them on.
Yeah, it doesn't fit well. Okay.
And now we have some Pokemon. So we got your boy Barrel. I don't know.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it a lot,
Yeah,
but I think
you don't like it. You squove it.
I scovid it. And because right now we have Boss Research, Iona, Colress, Ultra Ball, Curlia, Radiant Greninja, Escape Rope. That's 8, and then we have the maybes Forest Seal Stone and Nest Ball, which both could be there,
Yeah,
right?
those are very
it's got
good.
it-
So I think Barrel's
it's
worse
not better
all
than
that.
those 10 cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we got Luminia. I don't think Luminion's in. Like, it's good, but there's not enough supporter diversity. Like, people just play the top supporters, and
You play 3 or 4 of the couple of the 3 supporters you want.
yeah. So yeah,
All right.
I don't think. Right, you agree it's not in.
I think so. It's pretty close though.
It's very good, but now we have three of the best like Pokemon in the game. Comfy. I'm gonna say
I think it.
no.
Yeah, I think it's just too specific to that deck, right?
Yeah.
Me.
Then
So
we
I
have
think.
Arceus and Genesect.
All right, so I'm going to put those in the maybes at the moment. So, and this is it, right? This is all the cards.
Yeah. So we have Force Seal Stone, Nest Ball, Arceus, Genesect.
All right, you wanted to order them too, right?
Yeah, we'll order them. We
Let's
don't need to
order them now.
these
Let's
four,
start at
okay.
the top, and then we'll see how the bottom sorts out.
Okay, so top. Oh, what? I think the best one's Boss. I think the best card in the game now is Boss Orders.
Yeah, it depends how you look at it, but I can. That's a valid argument.
Yeah, I think it does something super important. It's by far the only thing that does it. Yeah. Next, I think, is Iono.
Okay. Yeah, I think right now Iono is super important.
And then we should put Research, right? That
So the
makes
3 supporters that we have are top of the list, which makes sense. They're just the backbone of every deck. Well, Colress, but that one's not quite as good.
That's not as good. I think. What do you think next? I know
I
what
might
I think,
do
but I don't think you're.
Next, I think it's just so important getting the Pokemon you want. But
Ultra Ball.
I would say Ultra Ball. You're gonna say Curly, aren't you?
No, I'm gonna say Radiant Greninja. I think Radiant Greninja. I'm tempted to put Radiant Greninja above Research.
All right, I can take Radiant Greninja.
Is below Research.
Right? Yeah, I think so.
I think it's such a good attacker right now. It's insane.
And the abilities.
And the abilities like so good too.
Good in so many decks. So.
And then Ultra Ball, right?
I think so. Yeah, just so important for so many decks.
And then I'd say Rope probably.
Okay, above Curly and Colress.
Yeah, I think that. I think that works. And then I'd probably say Curlia and then Colress.
I'm a little uncertain about Colress. I don't. Is that really the next best one? Is that better than Forest Seal Stone, Nest Ball, Arceus, and Genesect?
I don't know, but I think Curlia is better than. I think Curlia is the 7th is fair.
Yeah, I like Curly at 7. I'm not so sure about Colress though.
Yeah, so now we got. I'm gonna drop it down to maybe. Obviously, it probably will be in the top 10, but I don't know. I feel like we need a representative of the Lost Zone, which is kind of like weird to say because it's not the whole thing. I think Culver's honestly. Oh, I don't know. Like the Lost Zone is so good. It's quite.
All right, can we? We need to drop 2. Can we? I would say I'd like to drop Genesect V. I know you think it's the best Pokemon in the game, but I'm inclined to drop it.
Okay, I guess I can accept that. I like. It's very good. It's like so strong.
Well, okay, what do we drop? You don't like Arceus here, right? I
don't know. Arceus is very good too. Genesect and Arceus are just amazing. In terms of like attacking, supporting, they're.
All right, how about this? I look at these 5 cards: Force Seal Stone, Nest Ball, Arceus V-Star, Genesis XP, Coast Experiment. I could drop Nest Ball. How about that?
You could drop Nest Ball. I was gonna say
Well,
Nest Ball might be next. It's
so
like
what do
in
you want to
every
drop?
deck.
Do you want to drop Force Seal Stone then? We got to drop something.
I think we drop Forest Stone yet. Forest Stone's good. It's very good, but
It's all right.
it doesn't like define anything. It's like it doesn't make any deck. Its value in a game is good, but it doesn't like completely change the game.
All right. It just makes a lot of decks better,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's not central to anything.
yeah. It's just like a cool card to toss in.
All right. So you think Nest Ball might be next?
I think Nest Ball it could be. So yeah, I think Nest Ball is really good. It's not as good as Quick Ball, but it's still like so good. It's so crucial.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
I think it's like one of the crucial trainers.
Okay.
Then let's see. So we got to drop one more.
We have Arceus, Genesect, and Colors. Or we either need to drop one or put one in 9. Is there one that's best for you out of this group?
I'm not sure. I like see Culver's is weird because this is like the Lost Zone question. Like Lost Zone's really good.
I I think I want Colorus on the list, and I think it could go 9 or 10.
Okay, I think let's put it 9.
Okay.
And
Then we have to
now
drop Arceus or Genesect, two very different cards.
I think they're not that.
Well, Genesect only works for one deck though, but it's so great in that deck, right?
Yeah, you know
That's
what? You
the
know what?
question.
You want Arceus, right?
Yeah, I
You
do.
know what? It's Father's Day. You get
I get
Arceus.
that's my present this day.
Yeah. I'll drop
Okay.
Genesect. Okay, so this is the final list.
The definitive list here,
The
right?
definitive top 10 best cards in the Paldea Evolved format. Starting at 10, we have Arceus. Oh, wait, let me make sure there's 10. You have the
Yeah.
list, right? There's 10.
I do. I have it down. Yeah.
So Arceus V-Star is 10. Very good. I mean, they're all very good. Coast Experiment, Nest Ball, Curlia, Escape, including the kind of engine as well.
Yeah.
Same thing with Arceus. We include the line. Escape Rope, which also kind of includes Switch. Ultra Ball. We have Reading Ninja. Then
Yep.
number 3, we have Professor's Research. Number 2 is Iono. And the best card in the game is Boss's Orders. Guess this.
There we go. Oh, you call that yarn, huh? Okay.
No, I don't actually care about the best boss. I only care about Research. Research is definitely Juniper. But
Wow. Okay. Going old school there.
it's not.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
All right. I think we have a pretty good list there.
Yeah, I think we have the definitive list, so I'm proud we got that out there. In case you were wondering, this is like obviously right. So yeah, we hope you enjoyed. Anything else you want to say?
I wish we'd include double turbo because then we could just build a deck out of those 10 cards and gone to it,
Yeah.
right? But it's not quite going to work. But no, it's a lot of good cards. I do think there's a lot of good deck ideas. There's some versatility, so I think we're in a decent place at the moment. Live isn't good, but our options are okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. We've been the Reasonably Effective Podcast. Check us out, Uncommon Fossil and 10 Types on YouTube. Of course, check us out on Spotify as well.
Yep.
That'd be really cool. Because we're close to getting monetized, I think. So that'd be cool. We can make a
couple cents.
Yeah, maybe a few cents. So, and then maybe we'll start making sense.
Oh, is that how we're ending the podcast?
Yep.
Ugh.
Goodbye.
Take care.